Hello, you beautiful people out there, and welcome to the Banner Gaming's Ahead of the Curve, Episode 8. This is Kimosavix.
And I'm Naomi.
And my name is Wisdom. Now, today we've got a whole pile of news for you. We're touching on pretty much every Blizzard game under the sun. It's a big pile. There's more than one game this week. However, as always, we're going to start off with This Week in Warcraft. So I've got some exciting news. I managed to get a brand new feat of strength that I've actually been going after for a little while now. I finally got the Predator title, which for those of you who don't know, that just you have to kill Zerkamul out in Tanan. He's kind of annoying though because you have to use your magic little teleportation crystal, and I was just happened to be up at like 4 a.m. server time, and he was alive, and I got there, and good things happened.
So you're a predator now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could be if I wanted to. I also
that sounds okay. Maybe you'll be on ABC one day to catch a predator.
Alternatively, I also after carrying a certain co-host who has too many alts and can't be bothered to level them by himself through Skyreach more times than is probably actually good for my sanity, I had to take out my fury on the Arakoa, so I killed about 4,000 old Arakoa in BC content, and finished up my Shatari Skyguard rep. So I've got a whole pile of Nether Derby mounts to ride that I'll never use.
Yay!
Then nice.
I got the achievement Ashes, which is very exciting. As we talked about in our previous episode, it was pretty difficult for us to get the first couple times around, and Wisdom wanted to die a few times. But we finally got it, and surprisingly to both Chemo and Wisdom, I had a very fun time with the entire experience. Was awesome for me, even failing multiple times at it. Because usually when I do achievements, it's like, go here, get this, I've never done a really hard achievement before, so it was really exciting and really cool, and when I got it, I was like, yes, this is amazing! So I was very excited about that.
Would you say that you felt a feeling of achievement?
I did! I felt very achieved. Wait, no, that's wrong. I felt a feeling of achievement. That's a better way of putting it, yes. Yes, I did.
Nice. Yeah, we finally got that. I have an interesting story for this week too. In talking about Merrymaker last week, I was working on it, and I log in on Saturday at a very, very busy personal week, and I realized that in 4 hours, Merrymaker is going to be going away, and I am going to miss the achievement. All I have to do is hit a Troll Hunter and a Orc Death Knight with Flakes, and I am done. I have 4 hours, and I realize I log on, I have no Flakes. They expire in 10 days, so all of the Flakes I had ready are gone. So I go on multiple characters, and I finally get some Flakes, and thank goodness Squid, our co-GM, actually has a Troll Hunter that's level 100. And this is the cheapest way to get this achievement. He paid an Orc Death Knight 100 gold to stand outside of Orgrimmar. He helped me trade my Flakes over to my main, or not my main, but the character I was doing it on. And then him and the Orc guy stood outside of Orgrimmar. I flaked both of them, bowed, and left.
Cheater! You're
no
a cheater.
Respect.
Winning.
No respect. Let us know down in the comments. Did you like Wisdom's Christmas story about his epic conquest to go get a Troll Hunter in the middle of Orgrimmar from last week? Or did you like buying your achievements from your friends?
That's essentially what happens here.
Well, no, just to be clear, Squid paid that guy 100 gold to stay there.
What?
You should pay him more than that.
But he has, he's a horde in our server, which is awesome. So
no, I'm saying pay Squid.
So I also have one more quick Hearthstone story. It was really fun. I was playing around some decks, and playing this game, I had a mana crystal with a juggler and an abusive sergeant and a leper gnome in my hand. I mana crystal the juggler. All right, so jugglers are 3/2. Every time I summon a monster, it shoots out 1 damage at an enemy, random enemy. So going into first turn, the guy plays nothing. Second turn, I play the juggler. Second turn for him, he Paladin coins a 1/1 recruit. Then I play the Abusive Sergeant, give my guy a 5/2, and then I play my Leper Gnome. The shot shoots his guy, and I deal 5 damage, and he quits the game. It was like the most powerful, quick overcome this I've ever played. And then I had one more game that was amazing. I unstable portaled a Dr. Boom on turn 4. So I could turn 4 Dr. Boom. All right, which is normally 7 mana. Unstable portal gets you for 3 mana less. So I Dr. Boomed this guy on turn 4. Then I drew Dr. Boom before turn 7, and he used everything he could to get rid of that Dr. Boom, and I Dr. Boomed again, and I won. So we fought back-to-back Dr. Booms. I actually drew my own. And I had the Archmage with me. And then and then the next game, I Archmage, 2 Fireballs, 2 Frost Bolts, the Cannon, Mirror Entity. It was amazing. So like I had 2 games in a row where I drew like the best possible combo, and just the double boom was amazing. The chances of me drawing my Dr. Boom for turn 7 and then portaling a Dr. Boom right away is crazy. But now, I think this would be a very interesting segment we're coming up to. Let's get into Jeremy and Wisdom argue about the Warcraft news.
All right, so here's what's going on. There's not much happening this week. Alpha's still down. The biggest thing that's happened is just yesterday, as of the recording of this. So on Monday, January 4th, I believe, pretty late at night, Crystallized Fel is now purchasable from your resident vendor in Tanaan for 1,250 Valor points. Yes, that is the item that drops off of Archimond that you use to upgrade your Legendary Ring 3 item levels. You can now buy it. Kimo, what are your thoughts?
Well, I honestly can't remember if I said this on a show that we did or just between us and one of our long conversations before we started recording them and calling them a show. I saw this on the forum a long time ago, and I thought it was a wonderful idea because it'll extend the the Valor longevity, and it'll make people want to do the content more, be more motivated. And now, me and you, a lot of times we disagree on things, and they're both very good points. You don't think this is good. I think you're really wrong. But I want you to go first so I can slam everything you're saying and then give my point. So, please.
All right. Well, you're right. You are wrong, and let me tell you why. So what's going on here is this basically it reduces the value of PvE content. Because yes, it makes people want to do LFR more, it makes people want to do Mythic Dungeons more, it makes people want to go and grind Valor, which takes time, and that's content that people can do, and it motivates them to go do it.
This is my makeshift elitist crown. It's a dented Red Bull can, but it's a crown. I'm gonna mail it to you. Okay.
All right. I'll be sure to wear it. And
yes.
So
valuable props brought to you by the banner. We spent a lot of money on our props. Hope you all enjoy them.
What this really does is it pulls away from the value of actual PvE content, though. No one really wants to go out and kill Archimond 20 times over 20 weeks now. All right. I think that there is more longevity in the game in the form of Archimond kills on a weekly basis than there is in grinding Valor, because Valor, as we've seen, you can get a lot more Valor a lot more quickly than you can 20 ring upgrades. So the way that this maths out is that it's possible to get 4 or 5, depending on how much Valor you're rolling over, ring upgrades a week from the vendor alone, plus your extra Archimond one. That's a maximum of
you only get like
4,800
Valor a week. So how are you gonna get 5 ring upgrades with 4,800 Valor?
Well, first of all, try doing some math. I realize it might be hard, but I mean,
1,250. Okay.
You can't spend all of your Valor every week.
You can only save 5,000 though.
Yeah, but you can't spend all your Valor every week. So you're going to start a week with like 300 or 400 Valor at some point, and then you're going to get your 4,800 valor, and that will bump you up to 5.
Oh, so you're saying you can possibly upgrade more if you save valor. But I'm saying per week though, you can only do it.
No, it's gonna. So look, you can't buy. You can buy all 4, and you'll have a little bit left over every week. That's just the way it
Right,
works.
right,
That's the
right.
way that's it. So then that little bit that rolls over will eventually end up getting you a 5th on the week that it builds up the extra and gets you to the 5,000 mark in addition to what you're earning that week. So
I think
most
your
weeks
math
it'll
is
be
slightly
4,
off,
some
but
weeks
you're
it'll be
close.
5 off the vendor, and then you're going to end up with 1 extra, whichever way you slice it, off of an actual Archimon to kill. I don't like this for a couple of reasons. It reduces the value of a legendary ring and that it is upgraded. And it also, I mean, one of the big things that I think that Blizzard did right this time around with the legendary items, if they're going to give it to everybody, it's still important to have some distinction between the people who do the actual content for it. And I realize that might piss off a lot of people, but the players who don't do tourist mode for their legendary gear. All right. So we go through, we kill the content, we do it on one of the hardest difficulties, and we get a special reward for that in the form of ring upgrades. If this was an item that was available to people who had either already maxed out their legendary ring or had one on their account, it would be a different story. Or even if it just required like an ahead of the curve kill, that would be good enough for me. Because at that point, you don't have just people who run LFR buying enough item upgrades for their ring to eventually get them to cap. That seems silly to me. You have someone running around in largely 685 gear. Maybe some stuff that's higher than that from doing Mythic Dungeons, but you figure you do just LFR, Hellfire Citadel, and then you have a 695 ring. That doesn't make sense, and I don't think that it's right.
Wisdom's upset that people who aren't as good as him get get their ring upgrades. That's what this is about.
I mean,
he's
Okay.
like that noob is.
that's an
gonna get
ugly
ring
and not
upgrades,
entirely
not
correct
fair.
statement, but there's some
Okay.
value to it.
So, all right, this is, you're going down.
You're going down.
Give me your best shot.
All right, lawyer Jeremy coming in. So,
Wrong.
one ring upgrade is 1250. Now, well, I'm not going to argue over very small, minute math problems, okay? But every mythic dungeon gives you 300, right? So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's approximately doing 4 mythic dungeons. When you're in a guild that's ahead of the curve like we are, when we go Archimon, we pour it in, we kill him, we go to the next whatever. So it's like a half hour, okay? On average, the average group will take about a half hour to do a mythic dungeon, okay? So, that being said, doing Archimon is still relevant every week because it is faster than grinding out 1,250 Valor. So, the Archimon kill is still relevant, doesn't change that. 2, yes, it's fat. Even if you could do 2 mythic dungeons in 30 minutes, like if you had
I'll
an
grant
ace
you
group,
that it's faster,
it's
but
double. So let me finish.
okay.
I held my tongue and it was very hard. You know me. So Archimon is still relevant time-wise. Okay, 2. All right. How many we're going into mythic, right? There's a lot of guilds that are heroic going to mythic or normal going to heroic. We're going to a level that we don't normally do on the regular. So how many people that want to raid already have to, wait around for a ring? A lot. So once they get that ring, we're all 20 weeks ahead. So you got these people who don't, if you don't have the ring, you're probably resubbed in the middle of WoD, or you're resubbing for Legion. Okay, so you're a new person, right? You resub for Legion. You go, okay, well, you know what? In a month I can get the ring. I'll be with everybody else. Oh, wait. They've been getting upgrades every week for 20 weeks, so I'll still, no matter how much I try, I probably won't even be able to compete with them, and that's going to make me not as wanted by guilds that are recruiting people for the next level. So it's going to turn off new players from raiding, and this will help that. 3, it not only does it still leave Archimon as a valuable raiding tool, but it'll make Mythic Dungeons, LFR, the weekly events besides the pet, all more relevant for longer. So, and people with alts like myself, like my hunters trying to catch up, now I have a reason to go play that, and that's exciting for me. And I've been wanting to be able to catch up to, I do a great, sometimes I'm up there, but like it's hard. It's when you're motivated by numbers and you're motivated by being the best in the guild, it's hard knowing that every week, like the hunter that has, 20 more upgrades than me, like he's still going to get an upgrade because he's not done, and I'm going to get an upgrade, and he's going to get an upgrade. But eventually he'll stop. But then I have all those weeks to catch up. So this is good. And
I'm not saying that it's bad as a catch-up mechanic for people who already have it, or for people who, have got their ahead of the curve or something similar. What I'm talking about is the instances in which players end up, well, players who ordinarily wouldn't be able to get item upgrades or eye level upgrades are now getting them. And in terms of actually prolonging the content, it doesn't change the relevance of killing Archimon because it gets you an item upgrade. Well, you can still.
That's my truck delivering your elitist caps. I actually had so many I couldn't figure out which ones to send you.
It's true. You have a
maybe left the Red Bull a little.
Let me ask you a question. In Pandaland, everybody got to upgrade their cloak twice with the regular valor system, right? Even the people who play LFR.
Yeah.
So
and that detracted from. It meant that everybody had the same legendary, and that was boring. And it didn't make sense that the people who were doing it on a more challenging difficulty were not getting anything more worthwhile. That's not. I mean, they get all of their other gear as a higher item level.
Well,
except their legendary.
So if we had ahead of the curve, if you earned ahead of the curve, you would be okay with the people unlocking that the ring upgrades?
Because it largely people. Well, I mean, I think that even a normal kill to some extent would justify it because it means you have a means of already getting the item upgrades.
Okay. Well, this could go down.
There's one more point about the math here. Let's say let's ignore the off cases where you're getting 5 a week. So you get 4 upgrades a week, and let's say you're not even killing Archimon, so you're only getting the 4. That means that you may be spending extra time every week in that extra content, so that takes you longer, but it still takes you fewer weeks in total to get your finally upgraded ring.
Right.
Which means that once you have your fully upgraded ring, unless you have a compelling reason to log in, and chances are the people who don't kill Archimon regularly don't really have a compelling reason to log in, you're just going to stop playing and then you'll unsub.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you why that's wrong too. Okay. That's wrong because, all right, so like the guild, right? You know how we did farming for a while, and then after a while, people were like, I don't want to farm for new, like we did more than our share of farming, and they're like, I don't want to farm for new members. I don't care if your character logs out, like mid-show, and I'm not doing any more farming. So that being said, oh damn, you know how hard it is to put together a thought while you're trying to load your character and then hide your screen and fix your camera? It is actually above my capability right now. So, people didn't want to do that farm, right? So, what's going to happen when you're at your max, right? Say you max out soon because you are or did or about to, and a lot of people are maxing out.
He's like, no.
How many weeks is it going to be before people are like, once 3/4 of the raid group got done, and then, or even more, they're like, I'm tired of doing Archimon. Like, I'm sorry these guys didn't get their ring right away, but I'm tired of doing this same thing. And that
doesn't change the fact that they've already gotten a kill, which in my system, in my perfect system.
No, I'm saying if they didn't add this, they would be.
I'm not disputing adding it. I think it actually makes sense. And I think that, even in my perfect world, it would be like, I can go, oh, what did you do? Bye-bye.
I got killed by a horde, apparently.
Fun. I told you you'd die up there. You can, I can start to buy it on my alts now, I think, once they get their rings, which is going to be cool. So, that gives me a reason to even bother farming stuff like that.
I get
just
it.
Arbitrarily giving it out to people for something that's readily available, even just from doing heroics, no.
Readily available, just like my face for your viewing pleasure with my camera. I promise everybody we're going to get better lighting in this new studio. So anyway, the whole thing, we can get in a whole LFR discussion and have our comments blow up with
fight.
Hate. Yeah.
I have
But
a
but
question
but
though. What is Wisdom's perfect
well,
world?
hold
Is
on.
it
No,
like
we
wait,
already.
no, I'm really
He said
curious.
hey, he gets ahead of the curve, and
No, no, no. Is it like everybody on your level is up here and all the noobs are down here, and it's like a very serious line of you have to beat this challenge mode to get to this level, and you have to beat, this proving ground to get to this level. Would you prefer that in WoW? I'm just curious.
I think that to some extent, quantifications like that do make a lot of sense. But I think that fundamentally, the effort that it takes to get a reward should determine the quality of the reward. Fundamentally, so it takes more effort to do challenge mode gold than it does challenge mode silver, and for doing challenge mode gold, you get something better, at least in most people's opinion, than just doing challenge mode silver. Similarly, from doing heroic, mythic, even normal, you get progressively better rewards. I mean, that's the function of the eye level system and heroic level gear and mythic level gear and things like that. So having an item like the legendary ring, without a sort of distinction between players, I think is kind of a mistake. That's one of the things I didn't like about the old legendary system. I mean, not only are you now handing this out to everybody under the sun when it was previously something that was generally only obtainable through raiding, but you're making it available to people who are putting in dramatically less effort than players who are putting in more effort, yet you're getting fundamentally the same reward. I mean, the legendary cloak proc does the exact same damage whether you're wearing really high level gear or really low level gear. It's still a flat value. So when the legendary ring does more damage because you do more difficult content, I think that makes sense.
okay. Now, my turn. You can earn everything.
What about me?
You no. I can.
I
No
think
one
Janine
cares
should
about the editor.
You have. You can get everything for the legendary ring outside of doing inside the LFR, right? There's nothing
Mhm.
that you can't get, right? So you can earn the legendary ring without being in a raiding guild, okay? Or doing a normal raid.
Mhm.
So to say you can't upgrade that without being in a raiding guild, I disagree with. And I'm going to just tell you why. Um there's a we might disagree, Wisdom, but listen, people who do LFR either have a completely random schedule every week, they can't commit to time, you know, they're 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 missing out on the guild social experience. I mean, like think about it right now, right? We're raiding. Yeah, we enjoy Hellfire. It's actually a really good raid, but to an extent that gets boring. But why are we still raiding, right? Why aren't we unsubbing until Legion? Because we enjoy playing with each other. Yeah, we're running a guild and doing a show, but we enjoy playing with each other. And even if it wasn't for the show, we wouldn't be unsubbed. I got the statue because I never unsubbed in 10 years. But the thing is that you can you can like if you can't commit to that, you're already missing out on the guild experience and playing with a group of people you like. And LFR sometimes is very toxic. And I already feel bad enough for the people who are stuck to play in there. Like that's your only option. Sometimes it's nice for like somebody like Janine likes to go in there and mindlessly, kill stuff, earn her valor, and go home. But if that's all she had to do, it wouldn't be that fun. So doing giving them that option to do it for valor, one, keeps them subbed and playing. Two, makes them feel like they're progressing their character every week. And three, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, the more people that are kept subbed and playing, the more, funding goes to this game, the more they're going to be able to work on it and the more serious they're going to take this game. So by them keeping other people around, it's going to help us. Whether you agree with it or not, giving other people who don't have the time commitment for guild something to work on and some reason to play is going to benefit the game, which benefits all of us in the long run. And along with this system, people who are behind and people who are coming up and we want to raid with us, but they're just not as powerful, or people who slacked on the ring, it's now easier for us to say, yay, good, hurry up, get this valor, catch up and come with us. Or, hey, listen, you slacked on your ring. You had this opportunity to upgrade your ring. Your DPS still isn't there. We feel a lot less bad sitting you if you're not doing the damage you're supposed to. So, all in all, I definitely think it's a good update. Whether they should or shouldn't make it, gated between getting a Archimon kill. I even if it was, I don't think it'd be a big deal because they would just go get one kill, suck it up in the finder, and then go do it anyway. But keeping people happy and keeping people subbed is a good thing. And if you had a job where you couldn't commit to a guild but you still wanted to play WoW, you would be happy about it too. And what we get as a bonus for being in a guild is being able to do it very, very fast. So, where somebody has to do a bunch of LFRs to get one ring upgrade, we can go kill in 30 minutes, get a ring upgrade. Speaking of killing, apparently somebody sniped me.
So let us know down in the comments below who is right. Hint, it's not the guy in the red chair. He's dead for a reason.
Oh my gosh.
I really think that you're playing.
I've got a secret horde ult.
I think you do, because I don't know how these horde find me.
You park yourself in obvious social places. I mean, you're out in front of a vendor and the access to the old LFRs, so I don't know what you were expecting.
I just want to be loved.
I actually agree with Jeremy. I agree with Chemo. I understand Wisdom though. Like, I get it. I understand what he's saying. I understand the feeling. It's like spending 10 hours at work and having someone come in and spend 3 hours at work and get the same exact payment as you got. It stinks.
Except
I get
it's
it.
not. Wisdom's the boss because he's in a guild, so what takes him 1 hour takes the other guy 10 hours to make the same amount of money, because one Archimon kill takes 30 minutes.
But he got there.
Going through LFR to get enough valor.
But he got there. He had to be me at one point.
Right, and he's there. So stop complaining is what I'm saying. It takes somebody doing LFR
Hey, this is
5
my
hours.
opinion. Shut up.
It takes somebody else 5 hours to get the ring upgrade.
Let her talk.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I was agreeing with you. Sorry.
But I want you to agree with me and trash Wisdom, so you're only doing half of what I want.
No, I'm doing what I want. Anyway, let's move on to another topic before we turn this into an entire argument between Wisdom and Chemo.
Jerry! Is your raid leader out of control?
Oh my God.
I do what I want.
I do what I want. Whatever.
Jerry,
I do what I want.
I came home to Wisdom, and he just had all this loot piled up, and he wouldn't share it with anybody, and he had all these rings, and he told all these people to go away, Jerry, and he wouldn't do it. Oh, I'm Wisdom.
All right, let's
Now I
do
don't
some
get
more
no
news. It's news time. Okay, so here's an interesting thing that we're not going to fight about, probably.
Sorry.
So artifact weapons, right? Everybody knows that artifact weapons are coming. A lot of people are excited for them, myself among them. And one of the things that's pretty interesting about these is that they come in all different kinds of flavors. They look different. Sometimes they taste different. They certainly smell different. And they go better or worse with different armor sets. So one of the things that's becoming fairly apparent is that a lot of these different artifact weapon skins are designed off of, by and large, not in all cases, but by and large, off of old armor sets available to that specific class or specialization. Now, I think that this is kind of an interesting move because, I mean, sure, they look great, and the weapons as a standalone can certainly do their job. You know, they look really nice, they're shiny, they're sparkly. People will resub just to be able to get their hands on them, and that's good. But I do think that it's interesting that they're sort of pushing players back towards old content, because if I want, let's say I play a paladin, and my particular favorite like Ashbringer skin is Paladin tier 3. I'm just totally pulling this out of the air. So, that's going to make me want to not... I mean, I was avoiding that, but, that gives you the reason to not only work for your particular artifact weapon skin, but then also to go back and farm the particular set of transmog gear that you're interested in to sort of round out the set. And I think that that's an interesting move.
I think it's cool. I definitely think that I definitely think that there's actually room for add-ons to be made to the transmog system when it comes out, where people can be like, hey, here's a bunch of sets you could possibly do, and you download the add-on just like OQ was before Raid Finder and stuff, or looking for group, and it could like give you suggestions and pictures of all these cool sets that you can do with it. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if somebody made an add-on for it that would kind of do the same thing.
I would love an add-on like that, actually.
Watch, there probably already is one, and we're just horribly oblivious.
Well, I mean,
Now,
one that would actually track what you have. I mean, maybe there is, but I don't.
well, I think that a lot of the websites that try and do that kind of a thing for you aren't well maintained. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but um, okay. So here's something that's dramatically more controversial, especially coming from me. I think it would be interesting. Some of these artifact weapons go really, really well with the old level 90 Miss Appendaria challenge mode armor sets. And I think that if there was something appropriately difficult, so like, something you could do by yourself that's hard, that would actually be a demonstration of, kind of the effort that it took for some people, again, like imagine an averagely skilled group, an average gear and that kind of a thing, to go back and do that again so that you could get it to be obtainable. And one of the things that I was thinking about was in the proving grounds. They've really only touched on the first couple levels that are available here. I mean, we have a requirement at silver. Gosh, this is not going to go over well. I'm going to get so much hate for this. I think it would be interesting if they raised the endless mode rewards. All right, so that at level, like at wave 50 or wave 70 or something like that, you're looking at being able to get your hands on these different rewards. So, let's say we go into Legion, and wave 50 is going to be your level 90 armor set, and wave 70 is going to be your set of cosmetic weapons, depending, of course, on how they decide to deal with those weapons being account-wide or not. We still don't have any blue confirmation on that. So, thoughts?
I would be cool with like seeing something rewarded for it, because a title doesn't really motivate me. If there was something like a mount or a special weapon or armor set, I would actually probably go for it. I'd be motivated to do endless whatever. Titles don't motivate me, so I never cared to do it. So just from a motivational standpoint, it'd be fun to see something in there for something that's extremely hard. Um, I don't see why not. It'd be a nice addition. It's just one of those things. They're putting a lot of artwork, into the Legion weapons now. How many people will be doing that? It's much easier to put a lot of artwork, coming from Blizzard's dev perspective, into something that takes maybe a good chunk of time to do, but less time if you're more skilled, but more people have access to do it, than put a bunch of time into doing a bunch of art for things that only the top 5% can do. But maybe more than the top 5% could do it if they really practiced, if the rewards were worth it. So,
See, interesting thing though, I'm not saying that they put in new rewards for this. I'm saying this is how you get the old stuff that's no longer obtainable through traditional means. Because all of the challenge mode armor, that's in the game. All of the weapons, that's in the game.
I like that idea.
I mean, the Proving Grounds goes up to as long as you can survive DPS or heal for. I mean, there are people with like wave 100 plus world records and things like that. I mean, I don't know what it's at right now, but I think I saw a monk at like 167 or something. That I don't remember. So you can really get up there, and there are some people who will dedicate several hours of their life to getting the new world record or whatever it is supposed to be.
So you're saying if somebody tested it and was like, okay, it takes this amount of difficulty, say, to do the challenge mode. So we'll take Panda challenge mode stuff, we'll put it in, and they would try to make it the same kind of adequate skill needed for endless mode, and then give it to you if you complete it.
Here's the way that endless works. It's a set of 10 waves that repeats. So wave 1 through 10 looks the same as wave 11 through 20 and things like that. The difference is that every single wave that spawns gets a 1% buff to its health, damage, and I guess just health and damage. So it will hit you harder if you're tanking, it hits your team harder if you're healing, and it takes you longer to kill and your group, regardless of what role you're doing. So it does become progressively more challenging. So the wave 30 that you're up against to get your title is 30% more challenging than your initial wave was at the beginning. So similarly, wave 50 is 50% more challenging, all right? Wave 70, 70% more challenging, all right? That's why when people get to plus wave 100, that's a big deal, because it's literally twice as hard as it was in the beginning.
That sounds horrible.
So But I mean, the thing about it is that it's just a repeating set of mechanics. I mean, you have to figure out how to deal with 10 waves and then just do it over and over and over again. So it's not terribly difficult. It's just doing the mechanics right and then doing the numbers, going until the numbers get the best of you. So I think that it's interesting. I would love to see something like it implemented. I don't know what threshold would be challenging enough because, of course, if you really want it, especially I think the tanking one is one of the easiest ones to do. If you really want to go for wave 30, it's going to take you like 3 hours to sit down from never having done it before to dedicating it, putting in the effort and doing it.
How long does it actually take to go from one? Like, if you just did it, like
every
in your
wave is
first
60
try,
seconds.
so you just go to 30, so it would be 30 minutes just to do it perfectly first. Okay, yeah,
Which is like wave 60. I mean, that's an hour of play, which is a bit much. But again, you think about
I would have to go to the bathroom. I would need like
some of those challenge modes they were not that long, but they were as intense as some of those later waves. So
yeah, I think that's actually a good idea. I think we agree on something that.
Woo! Party!
now
All
let's
right.
fight.
Now let's go back to fighting like normal people.
You guys ready to go into the Hearthstone news?
Let's do
Hearthstone news.
Let's go down to the heart.
Throwdown for Hearthstone. And let's move into Hearthstone. So one of the things that has been brought up recently is the issue of consistency inside of Hearthstone. Now, this is of some relevance depending on, how you play, what level you play at, and it really does inform a lot of the different decisions you might make when you're playing or building a deck and things like that. And so it's of some relevance here. So one of the best examples to illustrate this issue of consistency is going back and forth between two cards, they're druid cards specifically, like the Druid of the Claw, which gives you the option when you play it to either pick Charge or gain 2 health and Taunt. Or are you, and then there's another card called the Ancient of War that gives you the option to pick 5 attack or +5 health and Taunt. Now, besides the numbers differences, these sound fairly similar, so you'd be forgiven for thinking that they do the same thing, but in fact, they do not. So what you're going to see here is, regardless of what you end up picking, for the Druid of the Claw, when you pick one of those two options, the card, your initial card that was in your hand and in your deck, it shape shifts and transforms into a different card. So you end up with a bear form Druid or a cat form Druid with different stats and either taunt or charge. And however, when you play your Ancient of War, it buffs itself, gaining either +5 attack or +5 health and taunt. So when your opponent, uses silence on any of these 3 different options here, should they use it on the Ancient of War, you'll see that you will go back to your initial 5/5 minion, right? You'll either lose your +5 attack or you'll lose your 5 health and taunt. However, if they use a similar silence on your Druid of the Claw, you'll only lose your charge effect, or more interestingly, with your bear form, you will retain your extra 2 health because that is a part of the shapeshift. However, the taunt can be silenced just like with any other minion. So this is interesting because it does make a difference in how you choose to play and maybe the cards you want to put in your deck.
And it'll make a difference if you're attacking, it might be worth, and it's going to be worth more to silence one than the other. So it might make the difference if you want to save the silence or not save the silence. So, I personally, I don't think it's a big deal right now. Because, if the minion is buffed, the health would turn green. If it's one of those things where I feel like a more experienced player would have a very slight advantage in the situation. But, I feel like this could grow. If it's not like stopped, this could be a big problem in the future. So, like the one that you can silence, maybe, call that choose one, and the one that you can't silence, or you can only silence the taunt, call it transformation. So choose one transformation and then plus one, or whatever the heck it is, or choose one this or that. And the one without the transformation, that is a buff and it could be silenced off. The one with the word transformation means it's not a buff, that's you're actually playing a different monster. Now, it's a very, very, very slight advantage at this point in time, but if it grows, expansion after expansion, it could be very annoying to new players.
And I do think that it's the kind of thing that is important because it's not just these two cards. I mean, there are more choice cards in the deck that are not just restricted to druids and things like that. There are some, general option choice cards that people can put into their decks that come from different expansions that we've seen. And depending on how potent these are, how popular they become in the meta, and the way that these things end up working overall, I do think that the issue of consistency is going to be substantial. Because we may see an issue that's different than this one, where one of the examples I came up with just on the fly was, I like to play shaman decks. So let's say that they end up giving us something like a grounding totem, where it's going to soak the next offensive spell that my enemy plays. So if I'm going up against a mage deck, it's great. It means, maybe I'll manage to soak a pyro. But what if they've got something, a unique spell that is targeted in, just to my enemy hero? And for some reason, that isn't captured by grounding totem, so I lose the game, even though I think I can survive or something like that. I think that it will end up making sort of game-changing decisions if there's not a level of consistency that's enforced here. I think it's important to be able to have some relatively well-defined lines. And certainly there can be outliers in certain circumstances, but those have to be really well-identified ones. And, especially need to be noted as being different, whether that's the difference between a buff and a transformation, or the difference between, having spells that are like a direct attack or other spells that are, castable at anybody and those kinds of things.
Yeah, one of the examples was your Sierra Dream card. Now, I know when I first got your Sierra, I didn't know what the Dream cards were. But when you get a legendary, you're excited and you look it up. If you're going to put a card in your deck and you're not sure what it means, you look it up. So I feel like those kind of examples aren't really a big deal because most people who put in a card in their deck are going to know what it does one way or the other. But I do think the Ancient of War example, though, would pose more of a problem. Just my opinion.
I don't know if I mean, I know that for us it's second nature too. Oh, I have a problem, let's go to Wowhead. That's second nature. I want to know what's coming up. I want to know what the news is. I want to know how this is going to impact my playstyle. So I'm all over the news all the time, and that's why I'm sitting here. But I don't think that's something that you can assume is every player's experience. I mean, I remember a point in time where I had no idea when new patches were coming out. I heard that there was an expansion coming out a few weeks before it was actually available for purchase and those kinds of things. And I'm not talking pre-orders here. So, there are players and there are points in time for players, especially when they're new, when going to outside resources isn't the thing to do. You get a Ysera card, you put it into a deck, and then you jump into play mode and you just hope that you manage to top deck it, And then you say, oh, I want to see what my dream cards are. And then you get one dream card. And you're like, oh, so this is what they will all be, right? And then unless you get a different one, you're never going to know how many different cards there are and those kinds of things. So I think that it is kind of interesting. And I'll be curious to see sort of the official stance on how this shakes out later on, or if we even get an official stance. Because, like Kimo said, there is a lot of room for this to grow out of control. And I think it will be concerning if it does. And it isn't, sort of snipped now.
Yeah, and I guess the dream card thing could be discouraging if it's out of control. Many like 2-3 years from now, if you have a bunch of cards that are vague like that, it might just be like instead of getting a card and somebody being happy about it, they get they buy 50 packs and they have to look up 6 of their cards, and then when they're deciding their deck, they can't remember. Okay, wait, was these the cards that come from this one, or were these the cards that come from that one? That just turns a big pain in the rump. So I think that could be simply fixed by adding, when those cards that are special, just adding a little button to click on the side of them. When you look through your collections, that'll bring up the possible options. Yeah, it's like a little info button. That's all. Seems like a pretty simple fix to me. And yeah, I guess I could see that going out of control. So, on both ends. What do you think, Janine?
Well, no, I was gonna say,
Naomi.
you remember when I first started playing my hunter and you were like, you have to read, you have to be up to date on everything. And I was like, oh, I hate reading. Why do I have to do homework on a game? I don't understand. So I guess I agree with Wisdom on that. Like, there's not, people like me aren't gonna go, I'm gonna read about this card before I use it. No, I just wanna play and see what happens. Like, so I guess that's my opinion on that.
And how many months later, once you finally started reading about your class, how much more enjoyment did you have?
I love it now.
Yes.
And reading about it helped me so much. You have no idea. So
because playing well is
right.
fun.
He was right, and you should read everything, and it will help you, and you will enjoy it more, and you'll be more excited about it. I'm 100 for reading, but
not
while you're doing it, you're like,
read.
no, I don't want to do this. No.
So here's actually, maybe this is a conversation for another time, but I do think that this is of some interest. I actually know some people who want to, in Warcraft, go into boss fights blind. They don't want to know the
or
mechanics.
lazy?
No, it's deliberate. It's, I want to learn how to progress on this boss by myself. I want to find a way to deal with the mechanics and come up with my own strategy. And to some extent, those are the kinds of things that I can respect. But I do think that it's interesting because that's so polar from the general attitude in the community of, no, I don't care if the fights just came out today. You should have known how to kill them yesterday.
You know, it's weird to think about it though, right? Because we want to go into the fights knowing the mechanics, but it's almost like reading the spoilers before you watch the movie, but
That's
it's so
true.
commonly done. You know, I never really thought about it, to be honest.
I actually have thought about that in the past. Like, isn't that kind of cheating? But then I realized that everybody was, like, required to know the mechanics. And if I'm going in there not knowing, I'm wiping and I'm the noob. So everyone just reads it because that's what they're supposed to do. But if we were the type of group that as soon as it came out, we went and figured it out and then we wrote the stuff, it'd be different. Because somebody has to write it, right?
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think it would be kind of fun to, maybe on an off night or something. Of course, goodness knows there's no PTR and certainly no alpha access for our entire guild. And there's no new content coming out forever. The game is actually over. For those of you who weren't aware, just go home now. No more updates. And be the well, and I mean, maybe just internally, just for us. Say, okay, let's get 10 people to get onto the PTR, and we'll give it a shot when the fights are open. I think that would be interesting.
I think we should try it. But we would have to do it with, like, the best of us. It couldn't be,
I
well,
guess.
And then I'd love to see how close our strategies are to what end up becoming mainstream. Like, does Fat Boss produce our strategy, or do we end up coming with something that's totally ass backwards?
We could record it. This could be a game.
You have one healer, 8 hunters, and 2 tanks.
One tank.
One tank. Wisdom's like, me. One. The star.
There can only be one. I will solo tank Malkarok even though vengeance is gone.
Oh, you guardless panda fool.
Don't remind me.
He's like, did you just call me a fool? I am the wise panda.
Boo.
Okay. Let's talk about Diablo, shall we?
Let's do it. So, Diablo Season 5 is coming out, along with patch 2.4. We're going to go into the patch details a little bit every episode, but today, let's going to go over some frequently asked questions about the patch. So, when is it coming out? Never. No, it's coming out. It's coming out on January 15th at 5 p.m.
It should be noted that's when the season is starting, not the actual patch.
Yes. Schools, man. So how long will the season last? They say approximately 3 months. So I guess now they're kind of getting to a rhythm of how long they want the season to last, because they've lasted for a very long time beforehand. So that's cool. Here's something interesting. Non-seasonal leaderboards are tied to what we call errors. We currently anticipate that the next wipe to concede with the end of Season 4. Although, this might not be the case for future seasons. So, it's saying that for the seasonal records will no longer be able to store some personal seasonal records. The overall top leaderboards will not be cleared, but your own personal season records will be if you're not on the leaderboard eventually. So that kind of sucks.
That's awful, isn't it?
Yeah. If you're like I would if I did seasons a lot, I'd be upset about that. Something interesting. A lot of people ask, will seasons be coming to console? Some features on console are best designed for that platform. And the same is true for the PC. I should work for Blizzard as a PR. A large part of the fun season is the entire community rerolling years together at the same time. Because the offline and disconnected nature of the console does not support this style of play, we currently have no plans to implement this season on console. So we at Blizzard would kindly like to tell everybody at console to go kiss a horse.
And with that, we're done with Blizzard games. I'm done. We're done. No more.
Done.
Now, if this is going to be the voice of Blizzard, I don't want to listen anymore.
I am the new ghost crawler.
No. You promised me a pony.
You promised me a pony.
We are running a little short on time this episode. Next week, we will get into some more of the details. There's actually a pretty decent amount this patch. And, you know, some people like, oh, it's not a lot. Some people might think it's a lot, but, you know, you got to consider that this game, these patches aren't costing you anything, and this game, they have no future plans for expansion. So this is like for free. They're giving more content for the same game you just paid for. So, you know, that's how when I say I think it's a decent amount, you know, I think because they're not making any money off of it, you know, per se.
Diablo's done?
No more expansions.
Oh, so we're going to be looking at 4 next instead of 3 point whatever.
That's what they said. They might change their mind, but that was the last announcement. I think it was around BlizzCon. That was one of the big questions. Like, no expansion, but we will be making patches. What are you doing?
That's how excited I am.
Oh, you're fanning yourself?
I'm ready for the next Diablo.
He's burning up in his seat.
I'm just... not my cup of tea.
Needs another game to tank in. So, yes, he did tank for us this season 4.
Gosh, don't remind me. That was just... It was no fun. It was total bullshit. I didn't like it. I had to carry you guys and heal the whole team and tank everything.
Dude, I was the glass cannon, man. I rocked that DPS.
You were squishy as fuck and nobody liked it. Let's go on to Overwatch.
Alright, let's talk about Overwatch. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Hanzo, Genji's older brother, which I believe I mentioned before during Genji's story. Hanzo is the oldest son of the Shimada clan. He strives to prove himself as a warrior without peer, kind of like Wisdom, our elitist raid leader that we have here. The Shimada family was established centuries ago, and this is a clan whose power grew over the years, enabling them to build a vast criminal empire profited from lucrative trade in arms and illegal substances. As the eldest son of the family's head, Hanzo was bound by duty to succeed his father and rule the Shimada Empire. From a young age, he was trained for this responsibility. He trained in archery and martial arts, in swordplay. He was a prodigy. He excelled in all these practical areas. He also had a very, natural leadership attitude, and he
apparently got struck by lightning a lot. Look at him, struck by lightning, and he's got lightning powers too.
He had an innate, understanding of strategy and tactics, so he was basically born for this job. So they put a lot of pressure on him. So after his father died, the elders instructed Hanzo to get his younger brother Genji more involved in, his responsibility because they wanted them to share the empire. Of course, Hanzo would be the lead, but they wanted the brother to be involved in it. When his brother refused, Hanzo had to kill him, it sounds extreme, but it makes sense. If this is a clan with illegal stuff going on, they either have to kill him or he has to be part of it. So Hanzo thinks that he killed his brother, which is explained in Genji's story also. But something that I didn't realize was that this broke Hanzo's heart, and he actually rejected his father's legacy and abandoned the clan completely. And he had worked his entire life to attain this clan, and he just leaves. And now he's traveling the world, perfecting his skills as a warrior and attempting to restore his honor and put the ghosts of his past to rest. So he's very honorable and cool and kind of hot with his tattoos and everything, but his ankles are kind of weird. But that's about it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you think along the way on this new epic journey, is he ever going to find what happened to his real legs, or is he just going to use? I mean, these things have got to be prosthetic. I don't know what it is about the Heroes art team, but so far they just can't seem to get the feet down. I mean, there's another picture where it seems more apparent that these are prosthetic, but it's not mentioned in the story or anything like that. I mean, this is I don't know what's going on.
And Mei had huge legs, and he has little ones. I don't know.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is it doesn't really seem like a lot of his abilities are really worth mentioning, with the exception of his ultimate, where, if you watch in the little the screen here on the left, he's going to be using it. And it's these dragons that come out, and they're enormous, and they eat the bad guys. And one of the things that they do is they pass through walls. And to some extent, this is a little bit strange to me. I mean, from a balance perspective, I get passing through like physical walls of the map. That's more okay to me than some of the other things that are going on. But when I think about, May's a great example here because we were just talking about her. But if I put up an ice wall as a defensive player, I would presume that my wall would trump whatever it is that you're going to throw at it. I mean, having the ability to put up a wall just to have another ability that can not care that I put up a wall kind of seems like it invalidates my move.
I totally agree.
Well, this is his ultimate right here. Shoots a big badass dragon. I like it. I think it's cool. It's one of the first things I fell in love with when I first watched Heroes of the Storm video. At BlizzCon.
Hey, I thought you liked Genji. I was gonna play Hanzo.
No, Genji and Hanzo.
Oh man.
You're right though. I did really like Genji as well. So he's a defensive guy. He has something called Storm Bow, which knocks him back, and then as you see,
he's
Storm
really
Bow.
good at shooting the walls.
Yeah, he's excellent. That's a great demonstration. Thank you, Blizzard, for that teaching tool. Maybe this one will be a little bit better, I hope. He launches an arrow that contains a sonar tracking device. Any enemy within its detection radius is vastly marked, making them easier for Hanzo and his allies to hunt down.
That would be really good with...
Look! Oh man, those walls. He loves hitting those walls. That's what he does.
That will be really good with Widowmaker, I think, because she's hard to spot. So if they hit her... Right? This tracks her.
If that animation doesn't show up like that for the enemy team, then I think it's practical. But if it's that big of a little pinging circle for everybody to see, it kind of invalidates it a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you forget the part in your story where the walls killed Hanzo's father?
Oh, stop.
Then we have Scattered Arrow. Hanzo shoots a fragmenting arrow that ricochets off walls, of course, and objects can strike multiple targets at once. So let's see what he does. Oh wow, he didn't shoot a wall that time. He did shoot a wall. No, he does.
All he does is shoot the walls.
That is actually really cool.
They call him a prodigy. I think he just has really, really well-designed arrows. So his aim is garbage, but it doesn't matter because whatever he hits, it either goes through the walls or it shatters and kills everybody anyway.
It's really the engineer who built his bow that is the winner here.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And since we're running low on time, we do have a lot more we want to talk about, which we will get into next week. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you liked our show, please like, comment, and subscribe below. If you like our wonderful art, please check out our wonderful artist link below. And if you like Kemosabe's argument better than Wisdom's, You don't gotta do anything. We all know you do anyway.
Oh my god.
So, this has been Kimasabics.
I've been Naomi.
And I've been Wisdom. As always, we would love to hear from you guys, so please let us know. Do you like Hanzo's story? Do you think his calves are too small? Should he switch with May? If that's possible, can we make that a reality? We can petition Blizzard. I'm sure some good will come of it. And as always, thank you for watching and have a good night.
Bye-bye! Oh, what the fuck? Come on, I just... Oh, wait. Is this the horde place?
Did you fly to the wrong one?
No.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I was like, really? A horde's attacking me?
No.
My mom, because we're getting my
Just
grandpa out of
walk
the place.
away.
So-
Just go
Just
do what
go-
you have to do.
yeah,
And go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom. Oh my, okay. Hanzo's like you. He's trying to be a warrior without peer. So he's like really snobby, and I'm just kidding.
Well, and I was curious where you were gonna go with that. It's okay. I'm terribly elitist on the inside.
On the inside.
Try not to let it out.
It shows a little bit on the outside. Just a little bit.
I'll get you to burn it on the side of the screen. Right over here. Just better than you. Have I killed Janine?
I think he changed the term. So instead of passive aggressive, he's passive elitist. That's what we're gonna call him from now on.
We're trademarking that, by the way.
That's yeah. That can be your opening, Wisdom. Oh, well, welcome to the banner. This is your favorite passive elitist, Wisdom.